Entrepreneurs on born that brew. You are now listening to the Entrepreneur Podcast with your host, Adam McChesney. Let's grow!
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Adam McChesney. I want to thank you for being here today. If you're listening, please be sure to subscribe to the show and leave us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. We'd love for you to share this on social media by tagging me and our guests. This way we can get this incredible content out to more people. Today's guest is someone I've been watching online for the past few months. We have some mutual connections, and once I saw him on my friend Kyle's podcast, actually here in St. Louis, I wanted to make a point to get him on mine. He's 22 years old. He's the owner of CMG Landscaping and CMG University, which is a program tailored to helping other people start and scale their landscaping businesses. I know he's also involved in some real estate. My guest today is Chase Gallagher. Chase, welcome to the show, man.
Adam, thank you for the amazing intro. Thank you for having me today. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, man, I take pride in doing a lot of research on the guests that I bring on, so that way I can ask better questions, but more importantly, kick it off with a good intro so that way you think I'm an incredible podcast host.
You are, Adam.
Well, man, I'm super excited. I know we were just chatting back and forth. Like, I don't know truly anything about landscaping, landscape design, all that stuff, but I have owned a landscape design company for about a year and a half. So I know enough to be dangerous on the marketing side, but I'm super excited to dive into your story, man. I've been following you, a huge fan of what you're doing, not only in your business, but with the university and all those things. So give us a little bit of rundown. Tell us a little bit about who you are, kind of how you got started and kind of where you're at today.
Yeah, like Adam said, I'm a 22-year-old landscape entrepreneur. I got started locally in my market, just mowing people's lawns. When I was 13 is like when I started my company. And the first year I just passed out, literally, I remember I probably passed out between 6,000 to 10,000 flyers my first year.
At 13? At 13?
At 13,
That's awesome, man. Love it.
I'd either walk the neighborhoods or I'd drag my parents after work and after their whole commitments to drive me around in the car, and I'd hang out the passenger window, and I'd already have them pre-rolled and everything in garbage bags, and I just pop them on the mailboxes. And so I passed out those flyers. I got my first 12 to 15 clients that first season, and traded in my family's giant, old, tractor that's not a zero turn. It was had a steering wheel. Traded that in, spent $2,000, got my first zero turn. I had the trailer at that point. And that's how I got started. I just started mowing lawns.
That's amazing. And so obviously starting mowing lawns, doing it super young. It's amazing that obviously you had the work ethic, obviously, to get to where you're at today. Talk to us about the evolution of the company.
Yeah. So Adam, you hit it on the nail. It's really about work ethic. I think about today, I can't spell, I can barely even, I can read, but I don't like it. And it's literally, like you just said, it's work ethic. But going back to my story, it's 13, 12, 15 lawn care clients. 14, I tailored my service in, right? I probably lost 3 clients that season because I was new in business and things and learning. And so I think I bumped it up to 15 to 17 next season. So that was 14. And then, long story short, 16 and a half, I got my license in my hand. It was August 15th. And it was 10 days later, school was about to start back up again. And I remember seeing my high school offering online, schooling. So I remember I was talking to my mom. I sat her down. I'm like, listen, I was also, traveling for competitive shotgun shooting at the time and all this kind of stuff. And I convinced her to let me do online high school. And I just remember, I got my license and I convinced her, and that was the best 10-day period of my life, and got out of what I call prison. And I remember my business just skyrocketed. I mean, it went from making 30 grand a year, 16 and a half, I did $120,000 in revenue. It was mainly just myself and a couple buddies here and there.
Yeah.
And then, 18 rolls around. I've been working all day, and literally I'd wake up, I'd go to work all day, and come home, eat dinner. While I'm eating dinner, I'd Google online my answers to these Quizlet questions or whatever, the online high school thing. And that's how I passed high school. And then 18 rolled around. I was listening to other mentors in the landscape industry. They always poo-pooed lawn mowing. It is the least profitable service. As I'm sure you know, you've been in the business. And so I sold the lawn list, sold all of my lawn care equipment, took that cash, bought a compact landscape tractor, bought a dump trailer, and been off to the races ever since.
That's amazing, man. And so going back to 18, I think, all the dumb things that I was doing at 18 and most 18-year-olds doing dumb things, you were on a completely different level. And what I love about the level that you're at, and what I can already tell and what I've seen in your videos, is the self-awareness of knowing your strengths and weaknesses. So you literally like, man, I hate reading. I'm not great at it. I can barely spell, but I know my work ethic. I know what it means to be around the right people, whether you're listening to podcasts or reading books or doing all of those other things, right? And I know that I'm smart enough to be able to work hard, but also success leaves clues, and be able to say, okay, these people are saying, stop doing this, start doing this. And at 18, you made a massive pivot. What was going through your head at that time?
At that time, I worked a lot and I was making great money. I thought I was rich. I was probably, making anywhere from like 85 to 100K net as a 17, 18-year-old.
Pretty good.
And, but I started getting into the landscape projects very, very like lightly. So I remember I'd go do a mulching job and I'd be like, damn, I just brought in $1,500 and it was like me and another guy for like a day. And the mulch costed me $200 and, my guides costed me $200 and I just netted, let's say 1,200, for a figure of speech. And, so I just remember that. And I was like, all right, let me do the math. If I get a compact landscape tractor, me and 2 guys can bang out 2 of those in a day. And so I was doing the math and I'm like, listen, at that time I was like, I can work a lot less and make way more money. And that's what I did. So that was what was going through my head.
Mm. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just fascinating to see, because there's people, right, that have businesses that need to pivot right now. Whether it's the service offering or whether it's like, hey, I need to go from one industry to the next, or there's people that need to stop working for somebody else and start their business, right? Which obviously we'll get into here in a second about how you help people do that.
And not
right?
to cut you off, Adam, but there's also the opposite of that. There's a lot of guys that need to stop working for themselves because they're not pricing right. They just can't
100%.
handle money right. And you need to go work for someone like myself that can actually give you more opportunity within their organization.
Oh, 100%. And I'm really glad that you brought that up as well, because I just got off a podcast where I was talking with somebody that is working for somebody else while also doing some other entrepreneurial activities. And he's like, man, there's so much to be learned from working in a right company to be able to go do it, even if you're an entrepreneur right now, but you're not set up for success, to go take that step to then go back and do something else later. And 100% right. But what I love about what you said, though, is that like you just took the risk, right? Like, of course, none of this stuff is guaranteed going back to when you were 13, 14 and on, but you saw the opportunity and did it. Whereas most people are going to sit there, overthink the situation time and time again, not do their due diligence, and then wonder why they're still stuck to where they're at today. They're going to be in the exact same place November of 2024 going, what the heck is going on, right? But it's because they don't understand what's going on actually in front of them. They're unwilling to be uncomfortable and actually take the chance to go, hey, I need to quit what I'm doing right now. I need to add this service. I need to delete this service and things like that. I'm sure you see this all the time.
All the time, brother. I got buddies, I got acquaintances, I got people in my circle. They want to do this, and I sit there, I'll give them advice, whatever. And it's just about implementation. And the more I grow up, I think the more people need to start a business. 100%. It's amazing. But at the same time, I start to see people's habits and tendencies, and some people aren't built for it. But I agree. The work ethic, the risk, etc. It's all worth it.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. And so where is your company at right now in terms of, I know you've obviously grown it. Like, what's the employee size? What all services do you offer? What's the revenue look like? All that good stuff.
So the services we provide are all project-based landscaping. I have not zero reoccurring revenue, but I don't mow lawns. So we'll do anything from like a spring cleanup, mulching, planting installs, hardscaping masonry, flat work masonry, tons of drainage work, regrading, putting pipes under the ground, landscape lighting. And then on the kind of reoccurring side, we do commercial snow removal for commercial snow sites.
Yep.
And so that's the services my team and I offer. We also obviously do landscape design and install, is what you would call it, to kind of summarize all that up. And then I have about 9 total team members on my team. And then this year we'll probably do between 1.6 and 1.7 ish. We still got a month left, and I think a guy wants to go ahead and do another project that just shot me a text. So you never know how we end up,
That's awesome, man. Well, kudos to you. I know that's obviously not an easy journey by any means, having been in the business for a short period of time, but amazing, obviously, what you've built and are continuing to build, right? So transitioning a little bit to CMG University, talk to us about what that is and kind of where that came from. Obviously, I know where it came from, just knowing you and following you and all those things, but like, what was the evolution of being like, now I want to take this next step and get this out to more people?
Yeah, great question, Adam. So really what happened is I was in a mentoring program last year, and my guy like just kept saying, dude, all you got to do is post about your life. And I was doing social media very lightly, nothing like I do today where it's every single day. I built it into my life habits. But he was like, dude, just start posting consistently. I went to one of his masterminds, and this was a real estate mentor of mine, actually, Troy Kearns. And he was just like, dude, just post your lifestyle. Cause like, what was I, 21, making 50K credit card payments and closing these deals and, all sorts of stuff. And so I just started doing that consistently, Adam, and then grew this following. And then from there, people kept DMing me, asking me questions. And I'm like, all right, I can only answer so many of these. I want to help as many people as possible. Put a link in my bio for a coaching call. It was like $75 at the time, 45 minutes. And I had a couple of these guys, and I'd be on here like this, like a Zoom meeting, and then we'd get to our time, and he'd be like, all right, so when's our next one? Can we do like later this week? And I'm like, so it was like that. And so I had like 3 of these guys, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to create a coaching program. So now we do, CMG University is a weekly coaching call Tuesday evenings. It includes a private Facebook group. You get access to myself, as well as a $0 to $1 million blueprint. Which includes everything from courses, videos, contracts, proposals, pricing, sheets, etc. And so it literally was created out of demand. And I love helping people, just helping people, whether it's financial freedom, grow their business, make more money. One of my students, Chris, he has a couple $100,000 in his bank account, and now is like getting married and buying a house. And like, it's kind of crazy how transformational some of your students and mentees can become. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, I love what you mentioned as well, as about like the impact in wanting to help people, because there's so many people out there. Like I'm in all the different masterminds out there, and there's so many people that start these things because they want to make more money. And I'm in and the reason why I asked that question is because like I'm in the process of building out a personal branding one. I just got my first freaking student, paid me yesterday for 2 freaking calls a month for 30 minutes each for $1,000 a month. And I'm like sitting here fascinated, like mind blown. But like people have been asking for it for so long. And I've just been exactly what you mentioned. I'll answer DMs all day long and I'll do it, but at the sacrifice of like my own stuff as well. And I fall in, but it's not because I want the money, but I also undervalued what I was doing. Right. And so it's also a disservice to myself and to my family and to what I'm trying to build as well. And it's amazing that you saw that, obviously, at such a young age, to be like, man, I'm just going to throw up a link. And you probably were like, it's a safe to fail experiment. Like maybe people are going to do it. Maybe like same thing with me launching that course. Like, I don't know if people are going to do it. Well, I'm getting DM after DM of like, hey, like I'm interested. Like, let's hop on a call. But then you see how these people take this information, of course, the ones that actually do something with it, and what it does to your life. You're like, man, I would do that for free. Like if I could, right? And I'm sure you feel the exact same way.
Right. And I do it for free to a lot of people that are close to me and local people and all sorts of stuff. I kind of categorize my life, like my free efforts are for a nonprofit organization called NEFCure, and certain other things are paid. Like you said, man, if you're serious, you're gonna front the money, you're gonna put the money up, and you're gonna get results because you put your money into this program.
Yeah, you're going to have so many people, 99% of people that will watch the free webinar, they'll do this, and then they'll never actually touch what you're going to do. But the people that are putting money up that are saying, man, no, I'm committing. And I know I'm the same way, right? Like if somebody's offering something free, like I might take it, I might look at it a month from now, a couple weeks from now. But like if I'm paying and I'm in multiple masterminds, if I'm paying, I'm showing the heck up. I'm putting in the work and I'm trying to get 5, 10, 15x, unquantifiable X return on investment on this stuff because you're investing it, right? And so I know you mentioned that you've been a part of masterminds and things like that. I would love to know from your aspect, obviously I know what it is like for you running the mastermind or wanting the university, but what has masterminds done for you about getting around the right people with the right mindset, pushing you to that next level?
A mastermind, to give you a simple analogy, is like taking a jet to a destination versus walking to a destination. That's and then
Love that
and then
analogy.
not, it's like there's that first aspect. And I'm talking about masterminds, universities, coaching programs, courses. I used to be that kid at like 16, be like, screw Ty Lopez, he's ripping people off and da 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 da. And then I was like, well, listen, let me try this $1,200 one out. And then I bought, and then I started just my growth started skyrocketing, right? And now I'm in it. So it does that. And then the second thing it does is it saves you. If you're in business, real estate, personal branding, it saves you thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in the inexperience tax is really what you're paying for. And it's honestly a no-brainer. If you do things like business or real estate, it's a no-brainer to get a mentor because you're going to save yourself usually what that costs on your first deal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. And I think always people, and I love that you have that mindset because I joined my first mastermind 3 weeks into entrepreneurship full-time 3.5 years ago. And I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I just knew that I was laying in my pool for the first 3 weeks and like working a couple hours a day and being like, man, this entrepreneurship thing's great, but I have no clients and I'm really trying to grow my business. And I had seen other people though talk online about this first mastermind group that I joined, and they were at places that I couldn't even fathom being at the time because I was sitting in my pool and they were doing the work. Well, then I start to do that. I start getting around the people, and I saw so many people because I've been in different groups and I see people come in and out of these masterminds, right? And the people that struggle after joining masterminds or universities, all those things, are the ones that need the immediate return on investment. I need the immediate instant gratification. I'm paying you $1,000 right now. I need $10,000 back by the end of this month. The ones that look at it differently and the ones that are still in those groups and have completely gone light years ahead of everybody else are the ones that saying, hey, the reason why I'm paying this $1,000, $10,000, whatever it might be, is for 2 reasons. One, exactly what you said. I want to jet set to that destination. But 2, I don't necessarily need the immediate return on investment. Yes, I know I'm going to get the return on investment, but it's going to be exponential. I want to avoid the pitfalls, the potholes, the mistakes, all of those things, the hard lessons. And I don't want to sacrifice, or I don't want to experience the pain and all the things that I have to sacrifice in order to do that. I'd rather pay money for the education, get a college degree, and not have to learn all those things, waste all the money, waste all the time.
Listen, I think about this like when I'm in the shower. Like one of the best things I've done in my life was go against the odds, go against what all the family and friends were just telling me. Like, when I first started my landscaping business, I had friends that would be like, dude, you're not going to be successful. Like, and I live in like a, middle class, like a lot of people's parents are corporate type of people. My both parents are corporate people, and everyone went to college, and that was what they would spew to me. And now I think back, I'm 22, all my peers are graduating college. Either their parents paid for it or they're 100K in debt or more. Yeah. And they're struggling trying to find a job, or now they hit me up for a job. And it's like I took that 100, 200 grand that I would have had to pay for. It's either invested in my business, it's invested in real estate, and I made a bunch of money during those 4 or 5 years that they were in college.
Dude, that's incredible, man. And there was never even a thought in my mind not to go to college because I'm a decade older than you. I'm 31, right? So like that just wasn't necessarily around, at least in the environment that I was obviously growing up in. But the fact of what you just said is the future of where all this stuff is. You don't have to go to college. I mean, you can get a freaking 4-year graduate degree, university, all those types of things from mentorships, from masterminds, from literally, if you want to just go run your head in the ground and do all this stuff on your own, you certainly can. But I want to touch on what you said is, there were friends that said, hey, you're not going to be successful, Chase. It was going against the grain of your family. What was that process like of being like, man, they want me to do this, I'm going to do that? Like, I'm assuming it probably caused some like friction or like doubt in their minds as well.
1000%. That was when I first started my business. I was like a 13-year-old, scared shitless of my clients. I just remember like dodging phone calls. I tried to send emails. I was still building up my confidence. On top of that, I got peers like, dude, do you think you're going to be successful mowing lawns? And it was like the hardest part of my business career is in the beginning. But you know what? I think I've always been a very determined person. Like I get what I want. And so I sometimes would just ignore it and be like, listen, dude, I'm focused on my goal. And I just go, 10 toes down on myself, on my business, etc.
That's awesome, man. Love it, man. Well, this has been an incredible episode. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're super busy. I know you got a podcast in your studio later today, but man, I know so many people are going to get value out of this for many reasons. The fact of your story just in general, what you've done in business, your work ethic, your mindset, what you're doing for other entrepreneurs, helping them start and scale their businesses. So this is absolutely incredible, man. Where can people stay connected with you at online?
The best place is my Instagram. It's Chase_Gallagher_. My last name is spelled Gallagher. I'm on there. We follow each other. I'm on there talking, on my stories and responding to DMs, etc. So yeah, my Instagram would be great. If you want to check out my business's Instagram, that is CMG_Landscape. You can check out some of our work. We're here in the Chester County, Pennsylvania, which is suburbs of Philadelphia.
Awesome, man. Well, we're going to have all that stuff in the show notes. Chase, any last pieces of advice that you'd have for just the entrepreneur or person listening to this podcast that you're like, hey, if they can leave with one piece of information, one insight to get better, what would that be?
I think a lot of guys say this, but it's very simple. Don't give up. Don't give up. Stay in the fight. And sometimes you got to balance your life out. Sometimes you just got to fall asleep at your desk. But wake up the next day with a smile and just get right back at it.
Love it, man. Thanks so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Of course.
And thank you again to the audience for tuning in to today's podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, download, and share our content. Leaving a 5-star review goes a long way. We'll see y'all next week. And remember, entrepreneurs aren't born, they're brewed.
I'm an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs aren't born, they're brewed. Thank you for listening to Entrepreneur Podcast with your host, Adam McChesney.